I wasn't supposed to notice the way her fingers trembled as she fastened my pearls. The ballroom downstairs was a symphony of crystal and forced laughter, the grandest event of the season. But up here, in the quiet of my dressing room, the only sound was the frantic beating of my own heart. I was Lady Catherine, a debutante on display, a prize to be won. But when my eyes met hers in the mirror, my maid, with eyes the color of a stormy sea, I saw a reflection of something I wasn't supposed to want. Her gaze held mine for a fraction too long, a silent question passing between us, a spark in the suffocating stillness. They told me my duty was to my family, to my name, to the suffocating corset that bound my ribs. But in that stolen moment, I felt a different kind of duty, a pull toward a world I was forbidden to even acknowledge. Our world was one of gilded cages and unspoken rules. I lived in Ashworth Manor, a sprawling estate where the walls had more secrets than the people within them. Every morning, I woke to the scent of beeswax and the rustle of silk, my life a carefully choreographed dance of etiquette lessons, formal dinners, and polite conversation. Society dictated every move, every smile. I was to marry a duke, produce an heir, and uphold the family legacy. It was a path laid out in stone. Her world was one of service and invisibility. She moved through the grand halls like a ghost. Her presence felt only in the perfectly turned down sheets and the polished silver. We were separated by a chasm of class, a divide as rigid and unyielding as the manor's stone walls. Then one evening, as she helped me into a gown for yet another tedious banquet, her hand slipped. Her fingers brushed against my bare shoulder. It was an accident, a fleeting touch, but a jolt of electricity shot through me, so powerful it made me gasp. The air crackled. In her eyes, I saw a flicker of the same shock, the same forbidden fire. In that instant, the world of etiquette and duty dissolved, and there was only us. The days that followed became a game of stolen glances and silent conversations. At formal dinners, surrounded by dozens of chattering aristocrats, my eyes would find hers across the room as she refilled a wine glass. A secret smile would play on my lips, a shared understanding that was ours alone. I found excuses to need her, requesting her assistance for the most private tasks, arranging my hair, reading to me by the firelight, mending a tear in a favorite dress. Each moment was a risk, a delicate dance on the edge of discovery. The other servants began to whisper. One afternoon, the head housekeeper, Mrs. Albright, found us talking by the window seat in the library, our heads bent close together. Her sharp, disapproving glare was a cold reminder of the danger we were courting, but the tension only made it more thrilling. The next day, I opened a book of poetry I'd been reading and found a pressed wildflower tucked between the pages, a small, perfect violet. It was a silent message, a promise. I pressed it to my lips, the delicate petals, a symbol of the fragile, beautiful thing growing between us. The turning point came on a wild, stormy evening. The wind howled outside, rattling the window panes, and the rain beat against the glass like a frantic drum. The storm mirrored the tempest in my own heart. That morning, my mother had announced that the Duke had formally proposed, and the wedding date was set. My future was sealed. That night, she found me in my chambers, curled up on the chaise lounge, tears streaming down my face. The facade of Lady Catherine had finally crumbled. She didn't speak. She simply sat beside me, her presence a silent comfort. I found myself confessing everything, the pressure, the loneliness, the feeling of being a pawn in my family's ambitions. When I finished, my voice raw with unshed tears, she reached out and took my hand. Her touch was warm, steady. It was then I understood the enchantment of our connection. It wasn't just desire. It was a profound sense of being seen, of being understood in a world that only saw my title. The storm raged outside, but in here, there was a strange and magical peace. In this moment, with rain drumming against the windows and your hand in mine, I am not Lady Catherine. I am simply yours. Our stolen moments of peace were short-lived. The very next week, my mother announced the wedding would be in 1 month's time. The walls were closing in. Mrs. Albright's suspicion had sharpened into a hawk-like watchfulness. She followed my maid's every move, her eyes cold and accusatory. The risk was no longer a thrill. It was a suffocating weight. We knew a choice had to be made. Safety or love. Conformity or a chance at a life that was truly our own. That night, under the cloak of a moonless sky, I met her in our secret place, a small, forgotten corner of the garden, hidden behind a maze of overgrown ivy. The air was thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and the damp earth. This was where we had shared whispered secrets and fleeting kisses, a sanctuary from the prying eyes of the manor. Tonight, however, the air was heavy with the finality of our situation. We could continue this way, stealing moments until I was shackled to the Duke, our love reduced to a secret memory, or we could risk everything. The fear was a cold knot in my stomach, but when I looked into her eyes, I saw not fear, but a fierce, unwavering courage that mirrored my own. We made our choice. The world could have its scandals, its rules, its gilded cages. We would choose freedom. 2 nights later, with a small bag of essentials and the jewels my grandmother had left me, I slipped out of Ashworth Manor for the last time. She was waiting for me by the old oak at the edge of the woods, a figure cloaked in shadow, her hand outstretched. Taking it, I didn't look back. We didn't know where we were going, only that we were going together. The road ahead would be uncertain, fraught with its own dangers. We would be nobodies, stripped of title and security. But for the first time in my life, I felt the exhilarating rush of being the author of my own story. Our ending wasn't one for the storybooks of dukes and ladies. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't easy, but it was real. It was ours. They called it scandal. We called it freedom. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales of love against the odds.